Jerry Springer Fox too, cause we ain't had no jam. Jerry Springer Fox too, cause we ain't had no channels. Try not to crap out on the dice because my life a gamble. Had to cut some niggas off cause all they do is scramble. Had to cut some bitches off cause all they do is stab me. Jerry Springer Fox too, cause we ain't had no channels. Try not to crap out on the dice because my life a gamble. Had to cut some niggas off cause all they do is scramble. Had to cut some bitches off cause all they do is stab me.
Thought I was living in a dream, I told myself to snap out. Short life a gamble and I wonder if I'm gonna crap out. And I got some for all them niggas that be trying to act out. Watch me go dumb, hitting the trigger on this 300 blackout. Yeah, turning dreams to reality, man. What is wrong with the devil? It feel like he after me. So I started this rapping thing, had to go show him that shooting ain't my only strategy. Feel like the streets trapping me ever since they killed my brother, man. RP packing name. Man, it's been a tragedy, gotta keep my head up because these niggas not clapping me. Because I got 5 sisters and I want them to know they don't need no nigga. I'm still trying to get rich so we can move out of town and the house is bigger. Short 314 get real, yeah, I know my city and it can't get realer. Lord, when I die, I ask you please just let me see the eyes of my
Jerry
killer.
Springer Fox too, cause we ain't had no channels. Try not to crap out on the dice because my life a gamble. Had to cut some niggas off cause all they do is scramble. Had to cut some bitches off cause all they do is stab me. Jerry Springer Fox too, cause we ain't had no channels. Try not to crap out on the dice because my life a gamble. Had to cut some niggas off cause all they do is scramble. Had to cut some bitches off cause all they do is stab. Yeah. Run up a check, I just want spaghetti. Hit up my ex when I need me some neck. Told her don't call if it ain't about sex. Fresh on my block, I just hopped off a jet. Driving to saw me, I'm fighting my demons. Told her I'm coming, no matter the region. Fuck all the goofies, them niggas be singing. Yo, bitch a groupie for gang, she be fiending. Can't trust the hoe, these hoes and style. She sucking and fucking for flights and travel. We wanna war, give a fuck about the battle. Smoking on goofies, this shit out the barrel. Sleep in the trap, now we trap out the castle. I fucked in a duck, I just gave her a sample. I told her good luck cause she wants some financials. My niggas crazy, they going bananas. My nigga crazy, they going bananas. My nigga crazy, they going bananas. I fuck that bitch in my pajama. I fuck that bitch in my pajama. Jerry Springer Fox too, cause we ain't had no channels. Try not to crap out on the dice because my life a gamble. Had to cut some niggas off cause all they do is scramble. Had to cut some bitches off cause all they do is stab me. Jerry Springer Fox too, cause we ain't had no channels. Try not to crap out on the dice because my life a gamble. Had to cut some niggas off cause all they do is scramble. Had to cut some bitches off cause all they do is stab me. Jerry Springer Fox too, cause we ain't had no channels. Try not to crap out on the dice because my life a gamble. Had to cut some niggas off cause all they do is scramble. Had to cut some bitches off cause all they do is stab me.
We Japanese still. You getting cooked in front of your family like a Japanese grill. It's Yashup the Hibachi, and none of you niggas can stop me, but can't help but watch me. We back, man. We back. Took brief little hiatus, but we back. And tonight we're gonna actually discuss something that's been going on the internet that's been buzzing for a while. A lot of you guys fell for the hype, you know what I'm saying? A lot of you guys was pumping up things and I'm here to tell you, I'm not going to stand for it. I'm not going to be the lame duck that sits back quiet and not say anything in opposition because you guys have this fake unity, this fake black code that you're supposed to support any and everything someone says because they have a certain hue or a certain skin tone or fit in your racial classification system. They're all black, so you support everything they say. I don't support idiocy. I don't support stupidity, and I don't support anti-Semitism. I don't support racism. With that being said, some groups were made famous within the past month. An author that we completely slaughtered. I slaughtered last year on this very topic. It has been made a spectacle in the public eye due to Kyrie and the comments of Ye. Y'all see me stop making videos about Ye because I don't support everything that man says. There's something called a composition by division fallacy. And basically what happens is people will take what you do agree with and act as if you agree with everything someone says. I don't agree with him. What he did say was anti-Semitism when he overgeneralized and he made broad sweeping accusations about all Jews, which I stated in videos prior. With that being said, what I'm seeing on the internet, and I see it all the time, sentiments that are being echoed, is people believe that they can be anti-Semitic. And when people call them out for being anti-Semitic, they say, well, I can't be as anti-Semitic because I myself is a Semite. That is a false dichotomy. Just because you believe you belong to a particular group does not give you license to say whatever you want to say about other people that believe they're in that particular group as well. So we're going to discuss some things tonight, man, because a lot of these groups are fraudulent. A lot of these groups hate Jews. And I'm going to be the one that say it. The Jews versus BHIs, they have a better situation than you guys have. They treat their wives better. They believe in familial structure. You believe in pump and dump. That's what you believe in. A lot of you BHIs pump and dump on these women, man. At least they believe in keeping their families together, raising children, building a nuclear family. Shout out to Prager, Dennis Prager of Prager University, which is a Jew. He said his religion reinforces his economics. You BHIs got that? Does any of these camps teach our people how to gain wealth? Do they teach skill building? Do they teach how to come into these niche markets and these niche skills and actually obtain wealth? Right? Are they stirring them into the tech markets? Are they steering them to dominate certain markets? Are they pushing literacy? You know, I've been reading a lot within the hiatus, and a Jewish man made a statement. He said, when you look at Jewish history, the reason why Jews always prevailed because literacy was a high point. And for all the atheists that watch my channel that hate everything about religion and God, you do understand these religions and these ideologies is what promoted literacy amongst the commoner. So this Jewish man was talking about that gave them a leg up in Europe when a lot of Europe was in a stupor, right, as far as literacy goes. But they felt that was important because they had to read the religious literature and tractates. Where is the IUIC? Where is the ISUPK? Where is these Black Hebrew Israelite organizations that are putting the emphasis on the literacy? Because there's a high illiteracy rate in the Black American populace. There are so many homes that are fatherless, broken, destroyed. Black American wealth is nilch, zero, nada. It's gone. You're not doing anything to restore the Black American community. But then you want to bat an eye at the Jewish community, which is a minority. But the Jewish community, they got their shit together. You do not. What gives you license to even speak against these people? So just like I said on Facebook, I'm going to side with the side that take care of their families. I'm going to side with the side that puts economics on the table and provides a chance for their future generations to obtain wealth. I'm going to side with that side. Because like I said, you BHIs are nothing. You just go out there on the street, call white people the devil, call women bitches. Y'all do that. But want to call my friends and stuff and say, man, what Yashub said hurt my feelings. Aren't you the same guys that go on the corners in the streets every Saturday cursing people out, telling them that they the devil, that they wicked, they're evil? But when I discuss things over the internet, y'all are in your feelings. You guys are in your feelings. That's all you are. You try to find excuses to be in your feelings. You're not moving on rationality. None of you guys. All of the BHIs are a bunch of bullshit camps and groups. That's what they are. They do nothing to promote the success of Black Americans. If anything, they harm the growth of Black Americans. You don't do anything productive. What do? Hold a fucking congregation full of people and tell them to come to your fucking church every Saturday? What makes you different than the Christian church? What makes you different? Nothing. You're just a place that you gather every damn week. You're not doing anything to repair those things. And then when you look at the Jewish community, how dare you even bat an eye or say anything towards them when they have they got their shit together. How about you get your shit together? Focus on that. You're not going to do that. You're just a Bible-thumping, hillbilly redneck. Walter Plecker, Ernest Cox, and all of the white supremacists of the past speak through you. So we're going to get into today's article because the Times of Israel wrote an article about IUIC and their latest, media stunt where they went outside of the NBA stadium in support of Kyrie. And it sparked some conversations in regards to what was going on in anti-Semitism. Elder Nathaniel went on a show. I'm not going to play that show tonight. And he basically tried to make a clean image for himself and say, well, we're not a hate group. I mean, does these people know what a hate group is? We're not a hate group. Same thing when you call someone a racist. I'm not a racist, bro. Everything you're saying is racist. You're demarcating someone based on their skin color, right? You delimit their ancestry, right? You tell them that they were born or they're inherently evil or wicked. These things are racist, right? But you create these false dichotomies and trying to exclude yourself from those words. But you guys are anti-Semite, as I provided proof what an anti-Semite was in one of my prior videos and actually educated you guys, gave you the source material, gave you the origin of the anti-Semite party and what it was created for. It was created by a Democrat, and he created that group to say, hey, these European Jews are Semites by race, not religion. And the reason why they did that was because they could say, hey, I could just convert from being a Jew and a Christian and no longer be persecuted as a Jew. They changed that. That's the origin of the anti-Semite group. So when people say, I can't be anti-Semite because I myself as a Semite don't know history and don't know the origin of that word and why it was created. The Germans will call themselves anti-Semites. And many of you Black Hebrew Israelites are speaking just like the Nazis. Nazi-esque propaganda. So when you get labeled as such, this is why. Right? This is why. Y'all don't want to be called out on any damn thing. That's why you're doing radio shows and stuff like that, trying to backtrack and cover up your bullshit. Well, I'm not a hate group. We're not anti-Semite. Yes, you are. Listen to what you say. So what we're going to do, two things. Then we're going to move on to RONALD, right? I'm going to keep this short, sweet, and concise. I'm not going to be on here all night explaining this. This shit is very simple. So when you have this, let's just get to the article right quick. You have these articles here, and the Times of Israel published this, right? Let me move my overlay so you guys can see it. So this is Times of Israel published this recently about the march these guys had earlier this month in support of Kyrie Irving. So the article says, how many Hebrew Israelites are there and how worried should Jews be? Recent militant posturing of Israel United in Christ, followers of Hebrew Israelite spiritual movement, has alarmed many already on edge from recent attacks, rise in anti-Semitism. All right, so they got a picture of the purple bandits right here. It says JTA dressed in matching purple hoodies and shirts with gold fringes attached to the bottom in observance of Deuteronomy 22, verse 12. Hundreds of members of a controversial Hebrew Israelite group marched through the streets of Brooklyn on Sunday. I also want to make this known. If you're part of a BHI hate group, watch what you say and watch what you do. Right? Watch what you say and watch what you do. Because when I read this article, these guys are watching and monitoring you guys even more so now. Now that you got Ye and the Kyrie controversy, they've always been doing it. Now they're doing it at a higher level. And it's going to state this in the article that we're reading. And vocab alone is going to state it. So you better clean up your act now before the wolves come in. You understand? Anyway, let's keep reading. Quote, it says, "Hey, Jacob, it's time to wake up," close quote, they chanted, using a term for people of color who have yet to embrace their quote-unquote true identity as descendants of the biblical Jacob, later called Israel. Open quote, "We got good news for you. You are the real Jews," close quote. Now, when anyone says you are the real Jews, when you go through these proclamations, you're already making a fundamental mistake. And that fundamental mistake is you're saying you're the real Jews and they're the fake Jews. That's what you're saying. And that's what the claim is here. And we're going to prove that that's what the claim, because IUIC won't stand on that swear. Bishop Nathaniel won't stand on that swear and come out to the public and tell them what he truly believes, which is all over his propaganda, which is all over the streets of America where his camps are. They reverberate these and echo these sentiments everywhere where you see IUIC. But when questioned about it, whether or not you're anti-Semite or not, you want to bullshit the people. All right. It says the march and a demonstration that followed at the Barclays Center were organized by Israel United in Christ in solidarity with Brooklyn Nets star Kyrie Irving, who was suspended for 8 games after he posted a link to an anti-Semitic film. And that film is Ronald Dalton's Hebrews to Negroes, right, which is an anti-Semitic film. In that video, he pretty much promotes colorism, which is a spawn or a child, offspring of white supremacy. You guys support white supremacy, right? It says on social media last month and then was slow to apologize. But IUIC has also used controversies to promote its incendiary ideology and recruit new followers into what it calls God's army, quote unquote. So here's where I disagree with the Times of Israel, and I disagree with the NBA. I disagree with them punishing Kyrie Irving for sharing a movie, right? I can understand if Kyrie Irving was saying certain quotes or agreeing with certain sentiments, then yeah, you got an argument there. But the man just shared a damn clip or a movie from Amazon, and that was it. The person y'all should be getting on to is Ronald Dalton, the person who made the movie, and Jeff Bezos, because he platformed the movie, not Kyrie Irving. But the media was going against Kyrie Irving, right? The problem is not Kyrie Irving. The problem is the person who made the film with the anti-Semitic tropes and the platform that hosted. So, and I also made this statement because people were all on social media. You know how Black Hebrew Israelites do. They were glorifying the fact that IUIC organized a march around the Barclays Center. And I said, this is going to be worse for Kyrie Irving. Because if anyone looks into the material that IUIC teaches, it is blatantly, overtly anti-Semitic. They have a lot of propaganda, a lot of videos against Jews. Calling them fake, calling them Edomites, saying that they're the devil, saying that they're Satan. All these videos saying this. All this propaganda and material making these statements. But when you guys are called out, you bitch-ass niggas will not sit back and stand on your swear and say, yes, I do teach those sentiments. Yes, I do hold those sentiments, and I teach my congregation that. You throw your rock and you hide your hand. I'm telling y'all, a lot of you guys that are part of these BHI cults, you're being monitored. You're being watched. You better clean up now. That's all I got to say on that, man. You better clean up your act now. I've done a lot of work on my channel to try to squeeze that fucking racism out of you. That Walter Plecker shit, I've been trying to get it out of you. That Nazi baby Hitler that's within you, I've been trying to squeeze it out of you with knowledge and understanding and the origin of these things. But you keep holding on to it. It's going to be a price. There's going to be a price for that. Because these people ain't playing. And it's for what? What do you get out of this? What do you get out of being an anti-Semite? What do you get out of telling people that they fake, they devils, and they Satan on the street? That's why I started this video by saying, what are you doing constructive for the Black American community? Nothing. You do nothing. You don't fight the illiteracy rates. You don't try to stop the fatherless homes. You don't push education. You don't do none of that shit. You don't get our people involved with decision making. You don't do that. You're just a church, a glorified church. People go there, they meet every week, and you go stream at people on the street. That's it. You're not advancing our people in science. You're not teaching our people about higher mathematics. You're not doing none of that. You're not producing actuaries. So what is all this for? So you can be racist bigots? That's it? All you can produce is racist bigots. That's the only thing your organization produce. We got the game tapes. We got decades and decades of footage of Black Hebrew Israelite cults doing nothing but that. Where's the fruit in this? None. But y'all gonna learn, man. Like I said, I produce video after video trying to squeeze the Walter Plecker out of you, squeeze the Blumenbach out of you. I'm trying to take all that racist, evil, white supremacist bullshit out of you. And you're holding on to it for dear life. You got pride in it. All right, let's keep reading. Since after the demonstration, the second held by IUIC outside of the Brooklyn Arena this month, the group's founder posted a message on his Twitter account. "We are not here for violence," close quote. Bishop Nathaniel Ben Israel wrote, "We are here for the spiritual war," close quote. Before 2019, those American Jews were even aware of the once obscure Black Hebrew Israelite spiritual movement, likely associated with the loud but non-violent street preachers who would, I can't pronounce that right there, guys. I guess that means harass. I guess it's a fancy way of saying harass pedestrians in city centers. In December of that year, however, extremists professing Israelite beliefs attacked a kosher grocery store in Jersey City, New Jersey, and a Hanukkah party in Monsey, New York. 2 Jews were killed in Jersey City, and a 17-year-old rabbi who was stabbed in the head in Monsey died from his injuries 3 months later. So I know you guys should be familiar with this event right here. This event was tragic. We know this event happened, right? It says, with the memory of those attacks still fresh and against the backdrop of a surge this fall in public expressions of anti-Semitism combined with threats of violence against Jewish communities emanating from other extremist corners, the militant posturing of IUIC has alarmed many Jews already on edge. Rabbi Mordecai Lightstone of Crown Heights observed on Twitter that the Israelites who regularly preach near his home on Shabbat have been particularly aggressive of late, heaping verbal abuse on both him and his children. Now, is this man lying? Because a lot of people, no, IUIC don't do that. Not my pastor. That's what y'all gonna do. You're gonna make excuses. But you can't fool me. I was a part of this organization. I know how to get down. And even if I wasn't a part of them and I didn't hit the streets with them and did the clown shit with them, right? I had my red nose and my shoes on with these guys at one point, right? Thank God I was able to get out of that situation. But with that being stated, how many of you guys are listening to this and making excuses in your head for them? Oh, they're not doing that. There's video footage of these guys doing this. It's like when I mentioned Sakari and the foolery that goes on their campgrounds, right? During their camp sessions, putting their hands on white people, spitting on white people. That's cool to y'all. Assault. So that's what y'all doing. It's not an organization to better Black Americans at all. That's a guys. It's just a hate group. It's just a bunch of racist bigots. That's it. Y'all gonna make excuses for this, but there's tons and tons and tons of video of them doing this to not just white Jews, even Black Americans. So when he's talking about heaping verbal abuse, they probably calling him Satan, calling him the devil, that the Bible speaks of. You're an imposter, you're fake, you're this, you're that, and the third. But y'all gonna sit up here and act like that's not going on. Y'all play coy, y'all get stupid when it comes to these articles and these accusations that come out. Like there's not tons and tons of video evidence on YouTube, on social media of these guys doing this shit. All right. It says on Sunday afternoon, Lightstone posted a video of IUIC members assembling for their march and rehearsing their chants in the Grand Army Plaza. Terrifying, close quote, commented Elisheva Rishon, a Black and Jewish fashion designer who blames Hebrew Israelites for inflaming tensions between the two communities to which she belongs. A few Twitter users compared the march of the 2017 far-right rally in Charlottesville, at which participants chanted, open quote, Jews will not replace us, close quote. The recent IUIC rallies give the impression that the radical wing of the Hebrew Israelite movement is large and riled up. Meanwhile, recent comments by Kanye West, the rapper who now goes by Ye, and Irving that align with the elements of the Hebrew Israelite doctrine suggest the movement has broad support among powerful Black celebrities. And I'm going to have to call you out on this, whoever wrote this article on Times of Israel. You have no proof that Irving aligned with the elements of the Hebrew Israelite doctrine. And that's very vague. But this goes back to my point I made earlier. All this man did was share a video. Now, the movie might be it is anti-Semitic, right? But that doesn't make him anti-Semitic. And I feel like that they try to paint him in that light, which I feel is grossly unfair. Anyway, it says here, Irving that aligned with the elements of Hebrew Israelite doctrine suggests the movement has broad support among powerful Black celebrities. But how big is the movement in reality? What percentage are extremists who assail Jews as imposters who stole their heritage from them? Now, when we read this part of the article, mom's the word. This is the main claim. Matter of fact, this is the core belief of BHIs. I think it's very fair to say this is what you stand on if you're a BHI. This is the sentiment that you echo. This is the point that you try to teach over and over again. That the people in Israel today are fake and they stole your ancestry. That's your main claim. But when someone says, hey, you're anti-Semite, oh, no, I'm not an anti-Semite. Yeah, you are. You are. All right. And if Black Israelism has entered the marketplace of mainstream religions in the United States, should Jews be concerned? The numbers. The only available statistics on Israelite identification in the United States were collected as a part as part of a small national survey conducted by evangelical Christian research firm in 2019. For that survey, which sought to capture African American attitudes toward the state of Israel, Lifeway Research asked 1,019 African Americans, open quote, which of the following best describes your opinion of Black Hebrew Israelite teachings, close quote. Most respondents, 62%, said they are not familiar with the teachings, but 19% said they agree with, open quote, most of the core ideas taught by Black Hebrew Israelites, close quote. And 4% said they consider themselves Hebrew Israelites. The remaining 15% said they either firmly oppose the teachings or disagree with most of them. The survey did not specify what those teachings are. The 2020 U.S. Census put the Black population at 41.1 million. So extrapolating from the Lifeway data, there are approximately 1.6 million Hebrew Israelites in the U.S., not counting the small numbers of Latinos and Native Americans who also belong to Israelite groups. It's 7.8 million people who may not identify as Israelites, but who agree with the spiritual movement's main teachings. For lots of these people, the attention that West and Irving have brought to their belief system has been validating. Open quote, Israelism is becoming part of the plausibility structure of Black America, close quote. Christian activist, author, Vocab Malone told the Jewish Telegraphic Agency. So Vocab Malone is actually quoted in this article. Vocab Malone be up all night and day putting in work on PHIs, man. I swear, there's some people that's on YouTube and social media, all they do is focus on one thing and that's it. They can't do nothing else. They can't pivot. That's it. And I think that's what who Vocab Malone has become. One trick pony. But that's for a whole nother discussion. It says here, referring to social contexts in which certain ideas are considered credible. Open quote, the suspicion that a lot of folks have towards the Jewish community, they think they're vindicated now, close quote. And what are those suspicions? That the Jews are fake, that they're thieves, they're all this other nasty stuff that you can imagine. And again, you guys will say all this stuff and say, I'm not anti-Semitic. So I have to agree with Vocab on this. Scott McConnell, Lifeway's executive director, told JTA that the survey sponsored the Christian Zionist organization Philo's Project supplied the question about Hebrew Israelite teachings. Asked if there are plans to include similar questions in future surveys, he replied, open quote, I know there are some pastors at African American churches that have concerns about some of their parishioners being led astray by the teachings of Hebrew Israelites, so we'll keep it on our radar, close quote. Malone, who uses the alias in keeping with hip-hop culture, is a close observer of the Israelite world. The Phoenix resident frequently engages in debates on the street and online with members of groups described as hateful by the Southern Poverty Law Center. Now, a lot of people like, oh, they got us listed as a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. This is propaganda. This is lies. The white man is lying to you. And no, like, look at all of your videos and do a summation. Write a summation of what you teach. Majority of that shit is hate. Majority of that shit is a hate group. It will fall in the category of hate group. Categorically, you would be a hate group. The Southern Poverty Law Center is not lying. You guys are a hate group. This is why you have a myriad of footage and videos and teachings that is pretty much spout hate, not just to Jews, white people in general, and black people too as well. So it's like, yeah, you are a hate group by definition. We're not. Yes, you are. That's why you're listed. That's why you're listed there. It's not an unjust thing. The proof's in the pudding. Including IUIC, Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, Israelite Church of God and Jesus Christ, and the Sakari. And I don't even know how Sakari can fight this. Your own video, your members of your own video punching and spitting on pedestrians, man. It's not a good look. But some of you guys are like, oh, it's a conspiracy. They putting us on the Southern Poverty Law Center. It's a conspiracy. Give me a break, man. It says, in hopes of convincing them to follow what he considers to be the true path of Christianity. Founded in 2003, IUIC has proven the most adept at creating public spectacles and garnering media coverage. The group operates 71 U.S. chapters and 20 international ones. According to the Anti-Defamation League, and it holds men's conferences each year that culminate in choreographed marches on city streets like the one on Sunday in Brooklyn. Based on the size of those marches, Malone estimated that national membership has grown from 5,000 in 2015 to around 10,000 today. Other radical groups likely have much smaller memberships but don't share any figures, preferring to, open quote, play their cards close to their chest, close quote, Malone said. These estimates suggest that the extremists comprise a very small percentage of the 1.6 Hebrew Israelites living in the United States. Ultimately, IUIC has a goal of recruiting 144,000 Black, Latino, and Native American people who will be spared by God during the end time, as foretold in the book of Revelation. In order to achieve this goal, the group sends representatives to proselytize overseas, including in parts of Africa and the Caribbean. IUIC did not respond to requests for comment from JTA. Both the Southern Poverty Law Center and the ADL monitor the activities of IUIC and other radical camps. Y'all hear that? Do y'all hear this? Listen, man. Both the Southern Poverty Law Center and the ADL monitor the activities of IUIC and other radical camps. Listen, all you guys that are trying to support these groups, these hate groups, you might want to run from the hills now. You might want to end your subscription, whatever you got to do, and separate yourself from these people. But hey, continue to be with these people if you want and see what happens. Just see what happens. I don't think these people playing, man. And it's like, you guys are giving them the ammunition to do whatever they please because you're saying all these things on Candid Cam. You're on street saying these things and you're recording yourself. Hey, Treasures of Torah, you talking about me. They're going to stop themselves. They're going to stop themselves because they're out here spreading hate, racism, and fighting and spitting on people and shit, and they're being monitored. Eventually, something's going to happen. Right, world star. they basically world starring themselves. You know, it's like when why the feds have a high conviction rate, because they don't go right in for the bust. They don't go right in for the bust as soon as they see a crime committed. They let you get years and years and years upon years of criminal activity. They're documenting everything. They're following your Instagram. They're taking pictures. They're checking all the serial numbers on the dollars that you got on your pictures and stuff of that nature, so they can build that ultimate case, right? And they crack you. They crack you. We've already had this happen in the community. With Tazadak. Tazadak already, I don't know if he passed away in jail or he's still in jail, but he already went down. So it's not something that's inconceivable. These people are monitoring you guys. So when you're on there saying these things like these people are gonna die, or the Most High gonna kill them, and all those things, you recording yourself doing these things, they're watching, and they're probably just building a case. They're probably just building a long case so they can prosecute your ass in the court of law. But hey, don't listen to me. Keep doing what you do. I love saying that. When people try to argue, be like, okay, since your way is working so well, just keep doing what you do, buddy. Keep doing it. You know, and whatever comes, comes. That's all I got to say, man, for the hard heads out there. It says both the Southern Poverty Law Center and the ADL monitor the activities of IUIC and other radical camps, as Israelites call their groups. However, spokespeople for both organizations told JTA they do not know how many people belong to these camps. An online movement, what is clear is that the camps have greatly expanded their reach in recent years, taking their messages from street corners to the entire globe thanks to the internet and social media. IUIC members run dozens of YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter accounts where they post a constant stream of videos and memes, many containing anti-Semitic tropes. And then this is what y'all gonna try to deny. No, they don't have yes, they do. They have anti-Semitic tropes. They have videos, they have footage, they have teachings, pretty much ostracizing Jewish people, right? And castigating, ostracizing Jewish people. This was one recent Instagram post shows a startled-looking Hasidic Jewish man holding his hat above the words, "the synagogue of Satan." So let's get that post, since y'all acting like, oh, they're not doing that. They're not. This article is lying. It's propaganda. It's all propaganda. These people are lying on them. All right, watch this. So let me stop that one and share what Elder Nathaniel shared on his Instagram. These people claim up in there, I'm not anti-Semite. We're not anti-Semite. How could I be anti-Semite? I am a Semite. That false dichotomy bullshit that they feed you. All right, so right here, this is Nathaniel Seven's Instagram. This was 2 weeks ago. Look, people, facts. You know what I'm saying? And he's got Revelation 2 and 9, one of their favorite verses. Another verse, I think, is on Ezekiel or Isaiah when they say, a bastard to dwell in Ashdod. You know, so they try to say, oh, Israel, who's there now? The Bible calls them bastards. You know, so that's what y'all do. But then turn around and claim that y'all not anti-Semite. But you got images like this which was made by your staff, was made by your peoples. They made this. You got a picture of looks like an Ashkenaz, a Hasidic Jew with the two curls. And it says, Revelation 2:9, say they those that say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. That's anti-Semitic. That's anti-Semitic. And this is just one example that they decided to share on the article. You got video upon video upon video, and you have not recanted on any of these claims. You double down on these claims. You support these claims. You teach these claims. You reinforce these claims. All right? All right, so boom. Let's go back to the article at hand. So it talks about that picture we just saw. Farrakhan, the leader of the Nation of Islam, uses similar language about Jews. A video he recorded this month defending Weston Irving has been viewed millions of times. The main IUIC YouTube channel and IUIC in the Classroom has 126,000 subscribers and 29.4 million video views. A series of videos posted 3 years ago on the channels of local chapters provide some insight into how members hear about IUIC and why they join. The most common way these members say they found their way to the camp was via videos they watched online. We got a quote here. It says, prior to actually coming to IUIC, I did do some Israelite window shopping, close quote. All right, I'm going to need my internet to. All right, here we go. Recounts Officer Joshua of IUIC Tallahassee. I always question myself, why is it that our people are at the bottom? How come we get the worst jobs and so forth? I knew Christianity wasn't answering my questions, so what I did was I just started soul searching, close quote. As part of his quest, Joshua says he stumbled upon a video of Bishop Nathaniel and other IUIC leaders preaching on the street. Open quote, I was like, man, these brothers really know what they're doing. They really have our history, close quote. He says, open quote, that's what actually made me do more research on IUIC and the truth, close quote. In another video, Sister Ezriela from the Concord, North Carolina branch explains that as a young adult, she felt uncertain about her life's purpose. Then her mother shared information with her about IUIC. Open quote, she was so happy it changed her life. I had to take notice and I had to come check it out for myself, close quote. She says, I fell in love with it. I fell in love with finding out who I am, close quote. A number of Black male celebrities have also been drawn into the wider Israelite orbit in recent years, including rappers Kendrick Lamar and Kodak Black, TV host Nick Cannon, boxer Floyd Mayweather, and retired NBA player Amari Stoudemire. Some of these celebrities appear to have been exposed to Israelite teachings by relatives and other acquaintances. Lamar, who famously rapped, "I'm an Israelite, don't call me black no more," on a 2017 song, learned about Israelism from a cousin who was involved with IUIC. Black began identifying as a Levite in 2017 after studying scripture with an Israelite priest while serving a jail sentence in Florida. I think that's talking about Kodak Black, yeah. Stoudemire has said his mother taught him he had Hebraic roots. He officially converted to Judaism in 2020, a step most Israelites reject because it contradicts their claims of already being authentic Jews. Isabel Williams, an analyst at ADL's Center on Extremism who tracks radical Israelite camps, says celebrity endorsement of the ideology can have the big impact because they come from figures who are widely respected. Open quote, if people came upon an extremist Black Hebrew Israelite group street preaching, it might be easier to dismiss it and recognize the extreme ideology behind it, close quote, she said. But when it's being shared by these influential figures, people might be less likely to recognize the really insidious ideology and dangerous anti-Semitic conspiracy theories that are behind these statements. Is the sister wrong? No, she's not, because a lot of you guys do circulate a lot of anti-Semitic conspiracy. One of them being the Khazar thing. One of them being that all Jews are evil. Y'all use scriptures like, oh, these people lie from the womb. They're born lying. Nobody's born a liar. That makes no damn sense, man. You know, y'all try to apply that literally, like, yeah, people are actually born like that. When you say someone's inherently a liar, you do know that's racist, right? That's racist. Oh, I'm not being. Yes, you are. You're being racist. You're being anti-Semitic. All right. It says Williams added that a range of extremist groups have seized on comments made by West and Irving. Open quote. It's not just BHI and NOI groups that are leveraging this moment, close quote, Williams said. Open quote, we've seen white supremacists who are also using recent attention and circulation of anti-Semitic conspiracy theories to promote their own agenda, close quote. Rabbi Capers is the most prominent Israelite leader in the U.S. He serves as a chief rabbi of the International Israelite Board of Rabbis, an organization that provides spiritual guidance to about 2,500 people in the United States, along with tens of thousands of Israelites in Southern and West Africa. In an interview, I never say this man's name right. You know, forgive me, brother, if you watch this. Fournier, I'm thinking it's Fournier. Condemned West, Irving, and the radical Israelite camps that have rallied around them. Open quote, God is never about divisiveness. Fournier said, God is never about hatred. God is never about you ain't. I don't have to say what you aren't to make me who I am. And this is a sentiment that I try to teach on this channel. This is something I try to reverberate on the channel. You do not have to demarcate another people to establish your own sense of belonging. You don't have to do that. You do not have to go around telling what other people aren't to substantiate yourself. And this is why y'all get mad when you hate watching my videos, because then once you start doing it, I have to remind you yourself that you yourself belong to an ethnic group that is a hodgepodge. Some of you guys go to Europeans. Some of you guys have Native American ancestry. Some of you guys have West African ancestry. Some of you got East African ancestry. So when you start trying to demarcate people, I have to remind you guys that you belong to a hodgepodge. All right? It says, a member of the Chicago Board of Rabbis and leader of a Chicago synagogue with a mixed membership of around 200 Jews and Israelites, Fournier was at pains to differentiate his community from IUIC and his ilk. They messed this up right here. He follows the Torah and supports the state of Israel. That's supposed to be a he. Times of Israel, you get your shit together, man. I'm reading this live and y'all messing me up. Correct this. He follows the Torah and supports the state of Israel. He said, while others follow both the Old and New Testaments, worship Jesus and reject Israel's government as illegitimate. Open quote, whatever army that Kyrie is speaking about, we are not a part of his army, close quote. He said, referring to a comment Irving made during the October 29th press conference about how he has a whole army behind him. And that has nothing to do with the IUIC marching and whatnot. You know, I'm not going to put that on Irving. This could have easily been metaphor or something that's not literally be an actual army. You know how the leftist pundits get on the internet. Oh, he said he had an army. He's got a secret. Shut the hell up. Anyway, but Fournier said another of Irving's recent statements. I cannot be anti-Semitic if I know where I come from, close quote, resonated with him and his congregants. A lot of you guys will say this when we bring this up. I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm Semitic. No, that doesn't. If you believe you're Semitic or not, does not change what you're stating is anti-Semitic or not. It has no bearing on that. It's a false dichotomy. Open quote, close quote. We are Semitic, he said, of black people who identify as Israelites. So now we really have to draw a line when anti-Semitism is only defined by one's complexion or ethnicity. We were not the ones that racialized Judaism, and we will never racialize it because Jews are not a race. Now, Fournier, if you stumble across this video by a happen chance, I have to correct you on this. As I've already did a video, you can check my videos on anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is what racialized Jews in the modern sense, right? That's what actually racialized Jews. Because I forget his name, I think it's Meher or something like that. He created the anti-Semite party to say, hey, you guys you can't hide behind your beliefs in religion no more. You have to identify as Semite, which is your race. So historically, anti-Semite, what the Nazis were doing, which was anti-Semite, what some of the Italian fascists were doing to Jews and Russians were doing to Jews, that was anti-Semite based on the belief that the Semites was a race. You know, and this is why it's important to unveil history to the modern groups and modern people. A lot of you guys got these videos, y'all got 1,000 million videos, but y'all don't touch on origins. Y'all don't touch on where these things stem from. You don't take out the time to actually teach this shit. You don't. And this is why these same erroneous statements pop up. All right. It says, so Fournier, I respectfully disagree with your sentiment there. So outside of the United States, the Jewish people themselves did not racialize. I'm gonna clear that up right now. The Jewish people themselves did not create this racialized movement of Jews or Semites. They did not do that. The Jewish people had nothing. They were the people that suffered because of that. The Germans did that. That's why we have to properly teach this history, man. That's why I did that video. I showed you the video from the museum. I read those books to you so you can get a proper understanding of what went on, because majority of BHI, majority of Afrocentrics don't have a fucking clue about this stuff. Because nobody will take out the time to teach it. It says we were not the ones that racialized Judaism, and we will never racialize it because Jews are not a race. Close quote. Outside of the United States, the largest organized group of Hebrew Israelites is located in Israel. The African Hebrew Israelites of Jerusalem are a Damona-based community of more than 3,000 African-American expatriates and their Israeli-born offspring. African Hebrew Israelite youth serve in the army. Not Kyrie Irving's or IUIC's army. Y'all, at times of Israel, cut this shit, man. Cut this shit. You know they ain't got no goddamn army. Now you playing too much. But the Israel Defense Forces, you know, that was the petty of who wrote this damn article. Hold on, I'm sorry. I gotta stop and go. Now I gotta get on your ass. Where you at? Andrew Essenstein. Stain. I don't know how to say your name, man. Andrew, cut your bullshit, man. We're not here for that bullshit either. You playing games. All right, you know they ain't got no goddamn army. It's just, but the Israel Defense Forces. After 53 years in Israel, the community has never been fully accepted, in part because they are not Jewish according to halakha or Jewish law. Currently, some 100 community members are being threatened with deportation for living in the country illegally. That's a pot shot right there. Hey, Andrew, you ain't slick, man. You gonna throw a pot shot? They ain't even been accepted. These niggas ain't been accepted. I'm gonna get on your ass, man. Don't maybe turn this video around on you, Andrew. Whoever you are. Yeah, he throwing his pot shots in there, man. He getting gritty. Ahmadel Ben Yahuda, the African Hebrew Israelite Minister of Information, said he interpreted Irving's remarks as a reference to the global awakening of people of African ancestry to their Hebraic roots. You know what's crazy about that statement? Because the point of reference is not really Irving. The point of reference is Ronald Dalton. And we've done shows on Ronald Dalton prior to his claim to fame here. And most of his books are bullshit. Majority of the content on his videos is sloppy scholarship. A lot of it's just a bunch of Walt Disney, Pixar-esque type of literature. It shouldn't be taken seriously. So he say the global awakening of the people of African ancestry is that. That's a very sad awakening, in my opinion. He said the backlash Irving has faced shows that conversation around his awakening must involve qualified representatives of the community who can cite reputable sources, not documentaries such as the one Irving boasted. Hebrews and Negroes wake up Black America in support of their claims of Israelite ancestry. Now, I agree with that. If you're going to be serious about claiming the Israelite ancestry, don't use this damn book. But you got to contradict yourself because you say, oh, this is a global awakening. But this is the reference right here. Open quote. What is certain is that Israel and Judaism must figure out a way to better accommodate these communities, close quote, Ben Yehuda said. This is not going to fade away, and it shouldn't. It will intensify as the awakening continues, close quote. This is what I got to say to, people that decide to go to Israel. If I go to this country, I'm going to have to be naturalized, whether I agree with it or not, right? If you go to Israel, they have their own state, they have their own government. They rule that state the way they rule it. So if they tell you, hey, you have to do X, Y, and Z to be a part of this country and be a citizen, then you're at the behest of the government there. Like you're under them, like you're under the tutelage of them. Like there's nothing you can do about that. All right, so that's just my stance on that. It says how this awakening will affect Jews and established Jewish communities remains to be seen. In September, George Washington University Program on Extremism released a report titled Contemporary Violent Extremism in the Black Hebrew Israelite Movement. The report noted that the predominant threat today comes not from Israelite groups themselves, but from individuals loosely affiliated with or inspired by the movement. And I like that they clarified here because no one's saying that IUIC and are largely violent. Now, there are certain, like GMS, want to put their hands on brothers. Sakari want to put their hands. Y'all violent. So y'all can't get around this. Y'all violent. And you get mad at me for saying it, but it's video footage out there that proves what I'm saying is true. But that doesn't mean all of these Israelites, even though they push these crazy anti-Semite conspiracies, they push a lot of white supremacy, brushed as black supremacy, and all these false notions that don't really exist and comport with reality. Like their 12 tribes chart, that doesn't really comport with reality. That's a hodgepodge of people, but you're claiming they all go back to Jacob. That's impossible. Jacob was one man. That's for another day. It says Malone, the Christian activist, cautioned that as the extremist wing of the Israelite movement grows, more violent lone wolves may emerge. Open quote. There's a big funnel with any movement, and the bigger the funnel is, you get certain things down at the bottom, he said. This is not Buddhism. This is a different kind of thing with a different kind of rhetoric. And that is true because you're going out there and saying prepare slaughter for their children. You're going out there, using these antiquated scriptures in those regards to try to say, wish harm on a group of people. by virtue of their skin color. That's all you judging them on, how they look. Which is the irony with IUIC, because you got people that look aesthetically and phenotypically white in the camp saying the same shit. Like it's just bizarre, man. You guys are bizarre. Anyway, so let's go from there for all the people that's watching. Like, they not anti-Semitic, they don't teach that. Let's go to IsraelUnite.org. You know, let's get it straight from the horse's mouth that these dudes are anti-Semitic, man. That's why when I seen the video footage of them having that march, I'm like, this really gonna hurt Kyrie Irving's reputation. Because just like they tried to associate him with the anti-Semitic film, now they got an organization to associate them with that are anti-Semitic. So this is not helping our brother Kyrie Irving. If anything, this hurts his reputation. And here's why. Let's go to Israel United in Christ. IsraelUnite.org. Right? When you go to the website, this is what you're going to see. And within this website, hold on real quick, because y'all know y'all turn the ADL real quick. Y'all know how BHIs get down. They the original ADL. They will cancel you. They will get you blocked. They'll do all those things. Look how they treat their own members. They dox their members and everything, man. So let me cover myself. Let me CYA. Let me take this moment to CYA. They might try to copyright strike me on this. Section 107 of the Copyright Act provides a statutory framework for determining whether something is a fair use and identifies certain types of uses such as criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research. So we are covered under the fair use, because you know how you brothers is. Y'all secretly want to be the ADL. Y'all secretly want to, silence all those that oppose you, right? You're no different. That's why I think it's funny when y'all try to critique the ADL when you guys are the same as the ADL. You try to silence all your opposition as well. Exposing Israeli history. That's the tab we're going to go to. You got a whole tab that's anti-Semite, man. All right? And they say, the abuse of anti-Semitism. Because they believe them carrying these sentiments are not anti-Semite. It says, Jewish people known as Edomites in the Bible who come from Esau's son Amalek have abused the phrase anti-Semitism and use it for their own evil gain. Wait a minute. So, first of all, you're going to tell these people who they descend from, and you know exactly what man they came from, of the son of Esau. Not only that Esau, he come from Amalek, the most hated one, I guess. Right? That's the logic. You're just trying to make these people that you don't like be the son of who you think is the most hated in the Bible. You're going to quote Jacob have I loved and Esau have I hated. And first came out red, and that's your whole argument for this shit. Not biology, not ancestry. You didn't find a coffin with the mummified remains of Amalek. You're just making this claim because you don't like these people. You're trying to ostracize and castigate these people. This is anti-Semitism, classic anti-Semitism, right? And we learned this from white rednecks in the South. What they would do is any negative image in the Bible, they would also call blacks Edomites and stuff. Anybody they perceive as evil, wicked, or they could throw dirt on, they would try to attribute that to black people. And what black people did, they re-engineered that and said, no, the mark of Cain isn't blackness, it's whiteness. No, whiteness is a curse. That's what they did. So you just took what they were teaching and reversed it. That's why I said a lot of you guys are secretly white supremacists, because you teach the same thing as Ernest Cox, Walter Plecker, Woodrow Wilson. We can name the same doctrines they taught, you teach. The same doctrines that were taught by white supremacists, you repackaged it and you teach it. You are the spiritual sons of Woodrow Wilson, the most racist United States president to ever exist. That's who you are. Let's keep reading this anti-Semitic propaganda that is hosted on IsraelUnite.org. So the truth of the matter is that Shem had many sons, which had many sons of their own, which all would be considered Semitic because they come from Shem. Not just one group of people are Semitic, but the Arabs, the Chinese, the Japanese, East Indians, Turks, Syrians, and blacks. Hispanics and Native Americans who make up the lost 12 tribes of Israel, whose forefathers Abraham, whose forefathers. So hold on. The Turks is Shemites, the Syrians, East Indians, the Japanese, everybody, Chinese, yeah, everybody damn. You do realize the Turks don't have the same genetics and same biological fathers as majority of Black Americans. You do realize. So how are they all Semitic? Because you're trying to make a biological claim and say Shin had many sons. This is a biological claim. And then say, well, yeah, all these people are Shem's sons. This is the idiocy that comes from this. This is what I teach against, idiocy. This whole page is replete with idiocy and anti-Semitism. And the whole point of saying this is, since I am a Semite, I consider myself a Semite, I can say all these foul, evil things about Jewish people. That's what they're trying to get at here. You know, even if it felt miserably, this is terrible. And does somebody update the font on this shit? How old is this? Was it done in Microsoft Paint? Anyway. The origins of Israeli. Israeli can be found nowhere in the Bible. Here's another false dichotomy. Oh, I can't find it. Actually, you can find the word Israeli in the Bible. That's how you would say it. I believe in biblical Hebrew, right? Israeli. Oh, I forgot. Y'all believe in that fake Hebrew mumbo jumbo shit you call YASHAR-YA'OH Kadash. You believe in that? Oh, brother, it's YASHAR-YA'OH. That is not biblical. If you was able to be taken in a time capsule back to the time of Moses, and they heard you say that, they would be looking at you like, what the hell is this nigga saying? And well, of course, in that language, you know, but they were like, well, I don't understand what he's saying. Anyway, let's continue to read this, man. It says, Israel can be found nowhere in the Bible, Old or New Testament. You may ask yourself, why is it that if they are the real Jews, God's chosen people, that's because they are not. They are Jewish converts who have assumed the identity of the ancient Israelites. Bingo, anti-Semitism right there. My thing is, if you believe this, stand on it. So when you're questioned in an interview, if you're an anti-Semite, just say it. Yes, I follow anti-Semitic tropes. I believe in this shit. Just say it, man. Trying to beat around the bush. It says, have assumed the identity of ancient Israelites who are comprised of the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians today. We are the chosen people of God, suffering the curses of God, found in Deuteronomy 28:15-68, for our disobedience to God's laws. They are the Gentiles spoken of by Christ in Luke 21, verse 24. And again, this is classic demarcation, a page ripped directly from white supremacists, because this is what they would do all the time. Oh, no. You blacks, you ain't God's people. You're the beasts of the earth. You're the sons of Cain. Anything but God's, you ain't shit, nigga. You took that sentiment and flipped it. And again, it's all about virtue. You don't know these people's ancestry. You didn't do the due diligence to find out where these people stem back to. You didn't do it. You making this claim based off how you perceive them to look. Oh, look at their skin, family. Look at their color. But then the camera pan, you see people white as snow in their congregation. Make that make sense to me. Ephraim mix. So get out of here, man. This shit's retarded, bro. It's hard to talk about this shit. Luke 20:24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Thus, they are only modern citizens of Israel since 1948, not the chosen people of God from ancient times. This is why you have to learn history. They were there before 1948. They were there In the Middle Ages, you had Jews, some Jews living in the land of Israel. First, second century, even after the fall, they came back. Maybe I should do a whole video on that because why y'all don't know shit. And all of this is on my fucking shoulders. I got to fucking repair all the damage that these idiot BHI groups have done. I have to do all this shit myself. I gotta sit up here. Okay, now I gotta do a lesson on this because y'all don't know this, and these people didn't fuck y'all heads up so much. There's so much ground that we have to cover. It's like you do understand Jewish history didn't stop in 70 AD. There's still Jews there. There's Jews in that period. There's Jews in the Black Sea region, Southern Europe. They're all over. You're reading from the New Testament would tell you that this letter was given to the Hebrews of Italy. You do understand there's a continuity of Jews going back to the first century, going back to the BC period. That was in Greece. That was in Athens. That was in Galatia, Asia Minor, in Turkey. Where was Paul born? In Tarsus. You dumb-dumbs? What the hell is wrong with y'all? There is a continuity amongst Jewish people, whether you like it or not, that traces them back to the Levant. It is what it is. Let me keep reading. It says, not the chosen people of God from ancient times. No evidence, no proof. They're going to come with these bullshit books. Oh, the Jews were involved in the slave trade. Yeah, West African empires were involved with the slave trade as well, which many of our people descend from. The Dahomey, the Bahogos, right? The Ghanaians, right? They were major players in the slave trade. So what does any of this mean? This is just a way to castigate an entire people based on some of their people's practices of ill dealings. Ill dealings does not determine ancestry, right? And again, many West Africans were involved in the slave trade. But this is some kind of way to try to demonize. You got this little lie going around in the community because you guys are anti-education, anti-academics, you're anti-anything, right? That goes outside your little bubble. Why would people sell their own people when in the Bible it tell you that Ephraim was selling Judah? When one of the early stories is that Joseph was sold to Egypt by his own fucking brothers. This is not that inconceivable. Shit, we got Black Americans doing ill things to other Black Americans in America today. Selling dope, doing the pump and dump scheme on the women, killing, murdering, robbing, all that. But you didn't taught yourself this color line. There's a color line in your mind where, when you see other Black people, you don't sell them to slavery. Get the fuck out of here, man. Well, there's a lot of damage that need to be repaired in this group. So I don't think I think it'll be a die old man trying to repair this. It's almost insurmountable. It says many Black Americans, Hispanics, and Native Americans ignorantly attribute Jewish people of today as chosen people of God through lack of biblical knowledge and history brought forth in their churches, and because Jewish people have laid claim to that title since their conversion in 700 AD. They are actually the biblical Edomites who were born from Esau's son Amalek. Black Americans do not know the Edomites from Europe, known as Amalek in the Bible, are responsible for financing the 1619 slave trade, diaspora from the west coast of Africa, genocide of Hispanics, and had a hand in the genocide of Native Americans. Their own historians have written books on the subject matter that has been hidden from the American school system curriculum. See for yourselves. And again, that's just, what I like to do. To get straight to the point. I like to get straight to the point here. Let's say what you said was true. A lot of that was bullshit and cannot be verified by history. Let's just assume. Again, ill dealings, what we perceive as ill dealings. Ill dealings does not determine your ancestry. Just because someone has a history, that means you have to condemn the majority of your ancestors that dealt with the slave trade longer than the Europeans or any white Jews did. You do understand West Africans were selling slaves in the Middle Ages. You do understand that. There's plenty of sources that back up that account. Has nothing to do with ancestry or you're related to somebody. It has nothing to do with that. You guys are weird, man. Scientists reveal Jewish history's forgotten Turkish roots. The new research suggests that most of the Jewish population of Northern and Eastern Europe, normally known as Ashkenazic Jews, are descendants of Greeks, Iranians, and others who colonized what is now northern Turkey more than 2,000 years ago, and were then converted to Judaism. And of course, they go to their favorite guy, Iuic, which has been repudiated on this 1,000 times. There's no evidence of this. They don't come from Turks. You know how you don't know? You know how you know they don't come from Turks? Yeah, Mansa Musa definitely owned slaves, traded slaves. I got a book about the Anglo people, the Ghanaians, right? After the British abolished slavery, they want to continue to trade slaves illegally. They kept doing this shit. Even after white Europeans abolished it. They're like, oh, no, man, we making too much money over here. Nigga. You crazy. We're going to keep our slaves. We're going to keep our plantation going. All right. It says his research can be found published here, and they had a link. New research suggests that the majority of the world's modern Jewish population descended mainly from ancient Turkey rather than predominantly elsewhere in the Middle East. This new research suggests that most of the Jewish population of Northern and Eastern Europe, normally known as the Ashkenazic Jews, are descendants of Greeks, Iranians, and others who colonized what is now Northern Turkey more than 2,000 years ago and were then converted to Judaism. Probably in the 1st century AD by the Jews from Persia. What's the problem with this? So they weren't Jews, they were in Turkey, and they were converted in the 1st century. What's the problem with this? First of all, this is a math problem because it says more than 2,000 years ago. Secondly, the problem with this is we found ancient remains in the Levant that they share the same genetic signatures as these people found in the Levant 3,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago. And we've done video after video on this. This is not new. If you want the evidence for that, check out my video that the modern Jews are authentic Jews. I've done a whole video on this, giving you guys source after source after source. All right, let's keep reading. At that stage, the Persian Empire was home to the world's largest Jewish communities, according to research carried out by geneticist Dr. Aaron Iuic at the University of Sheffield. Over 90% of Ashkenazi ancestors come from the converted partially Greek-originated ancient community in northeast Turkey. His research is based on genetic, historical, and place name evidence. For his geographic genetic research, Dr. Iuic used a geographic population structure computer modeling system to convert Ashkenazi Jews' DNA into geographical information. Dr. Iuic, an Israeli-born geneticist who gained his doctorate in molecular evolution from the University of Houston, believes I'm sorry, y'all, that's that long story. Let me get back. Believes 3 still surviving Turkish villages, Ashkenaz, on the western part of the ancient Silk Road route, were part of the original Ashkenazic homeland. He believes that the word Ashkenaz originally comes from Ashkuza, the ancient Syrian Babylonian name for the Iron Age Eurasian steppe people, the Scythians. Referring to the name of these 3 Turkish villages, Dr. Iuic points out that northeast Turkey is the only place in the world where these place names exist. From 1690s AD onward, anti-Jewish persecution by Christian Byzantine Empire seemed to have played a part in forcing a large number of Jews to flee across the Black Sea to a more friendly state. The Turkic-ruled Khazar Empire with its large Slav and other population. Some analysis of Yiddish suggest that it was originally a Slavic language, and Dr. Iuic and others believe that it was developed probably in the 8th to 19th century AD by Jewish merchants trading along some more northerly Silk Silk roads linking China and Europe. By the 730s, here go y'all favorite one. Here go y'all favorite claim right here. Here go y'all favorite claim. By 730s, the Khazar Empire had begun to convert to Judaism, and more people converted to the faith. But when the Khazar Empire declined in around the 11th century, some Jewish populations almost certainly migrated west into Central Europe. There are Yiddish-speaking Jewish merchants came into contact with Central European, often German-speaking peoples. They began to replace the Slav words in Yiddish with large numbers of German and German-derived words while retaining some Slav-originating grammar. Many Hebrew words also appear to have been added by that stage. The genetic modeling used in research was based on DNA from 367 Jews of Northern Eastern European origin and more than 600 non-Jewish people, mainly from Europe and Western Asia. Dr. Iuic says it's largest genomic study ever carried out on Ashkenazi Jews. Further researchers plan to try to measure the precise size of Semitic genetic input into the Jewish and non-Jewish genomes. So again, this whole page was made to demarcate these entire peoples. This is anti-Semitism, claiming that they're Khazarians, quoting Iuic. All this shit is anti-Semitism. You understand? These people are not going to own up to this shit. They're not going to be like, yeah, I actually do teach that. Nope, they're going to lie on these interviews. Right? So real quick, hold on. Let me dispel some of this. Then we're going to move on to the clip. We're going to move on to the clip, right? I'm not going to be here all night. Of RONALD Dalton Jr. But before we move there, let's dispel this. Let's go to the genetic history of the Levant. We didn't dealt with this before. And I think this is a genomic history of the Bronze Age Levant. Give me the entire article, please. Sale. And we dealt with this so many damn times on this channel. Right? We didn't taught this to ad nauseum, but some of y'all ain't learned your lesson yet. This is the genomic history of the Bronze Age Southern Levant, highlights and analysis of genome-wide data for 9 states from Bronze Age Levant. Contemporaneous samples from multiple sites are genetically similar. Migration from Zagros and or Caucasus to the Levant between 2500 and 1000 BCE. This is well before Iuic's estimated time of 2,000 years, or what they quoted of saying that they were Turks that were converted by Jews in Persia. These people have been in the Levant at the most 2,500 years BCE. That's 4,500 years ago. Let's read some of this. I'm not going to go over all this again. Go watch our prior work. We give source after source after source. This is up-to-date information, right? This was published May 28, 2020. It says, summary. We report genome-wide DNA data for 73 individuals from 5 archaeological sites across the Bronze and Iron Age Southern Levant. These individuals who share the Canaanite material culture can be modeled as descending from 2 sources. Earlier local Neolithic populations, and these early Neolithic populations would be those populations that are YAP positive, and then you have some of these populations which would have the haplogroup T marker, right? It says population related to the Chalcolithic Zagros or the Bronze Age Caucasus. The non-local contribution increased over time as events by 3 outliers who can be modeled as descendants of recent migrants. We show evidence that different Canaanite groups genetically resemble each other more than other groups. We find that Levant-related modern populations typically have substantial ancestry coming from populations related to Chalcolithic, Zagros, and Bronze Age Southern Levant. This, my friends, is called a genetic continuity, proving that these people have always been there for at least 4,500 years. These groups harbor ancestry from sources we cannot fully model with the available data, highlighting the critical role of the post-Bronze Age migrations into the region over the past 3,000 years. And you see the model here. I don't even think that we've done this so many times. Should I even read through all this again? Probably not. I want to get to this clip. You can see the PCA, how they cluster. Modern Jewish people still have these segments of DNA to connect these people. They have the haplogroups. There's nothing else to say. Let me see if this is the one with the J1 in here. No, it's not the J1. Let me get the paper with the J1, and then we're gonna move on to y'all friend Ronald Dalton. Genomic history of the Middle East. I think that's what it's called. And let's get y'all this haplogroup real quick. Right? Yeah, they teach. We are who we have Abraham as our father, but Abraham would have to have a Y chromosome if y'all were to go with this one man thing. And all of y'all can't be from Abraham. Because again, you're part of a hodgepodge, right? What you're going to have to realize is there was a Jewish cluster, and these people that y'all call fake was a part of that cluster. And we can prove that with no shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt, excuse me. All right, so this is the genomic history of the Middle East. Let me get the cell. Let me get the article on cell because I like how they lay it out. You understand? Don't worry, man. They're gonna get this work. You know, I'm trying to fix this damaged ass community and actually teach them something outside of Jacob have I loved and Esau have I. I'm actually trying to teach y'all some shit tonight. All right. The genomic history of the Middle East. Middle Easterners do not have ancestry from an early out of African expansion. Basal Eurasian African ancestry and Arabians deplete their Neanderthal ancestry. Population experienced bottlenecks, overlapping aridification events, identification of recent single polygenic signals on selection in Arabia. All right, so real quick, let me see if this is the paper. Yeah, right here. Go right to it. We're not going to waste too much time on this. In addition to local ancestry from Epi-Paleolithic, Neolithic people, we found ancestry related to ancient Iranians that is ubiquitous today in all Middle Easterners. Previous studies showed that this ancestry was not present in the Levant during the Neolithic period, but appeared in the Bronze Age, where approximately 50% of the local ancestry was replaced by a population carrying ancient Iran-related ancestry. We explored whether this ancestry penetrated both the Levant and Arabia at the same time and found admixture dates mostly follow a north to south climb, with the oldest admixture occurring in the Levant region between 3,300 and 5,900 years ago. Remember that article that they quoted from Al-Hayek was like, these people pop up 2,000 years ago and get converted. That's not true. It says here, followed by admixture in Arabia 2,000 to 3,500 years ago, and East Africa 2,100 to 3,300 years ago. So you do have Africans who have that are the descendants of these people and share the same biological forefathers as modern Jews today, like the Limba, right? Like the Amhara of Ethiopia, right? Like the Sudanese, right? They come from these same people, even though they look vastly different. This is why you can't judge people solely on skin color. We've been teaching that to ad nauseum here on the channel. So these times overlap with the dates for the Bronze Age origin and the spread of Semitic languages in the Middle East and East Africa, estimated from lexical data. This population potentially introduced the Y chromosome haplogroup J1 into the region, and a lot of the Jews have J1. The majority of J1 haplogroup chromosomes in our data set correlates around approximately 5.6 thousand years ago, agreeing with the potential Bronze Age expansion. However, we did find rare earlier divergent lineages correlating 17,000 years ago. The haplogroup common in our Tufians, E1B1B, is also frequent in our data set, with most lineages correlating approximately 8.3 thousand years ago. Though we also found a rare, deeply divergent Y chromosome, which correlates to 39,000 years ago, and that's E1B1. So when we look at the modern Jewish groups, there's a continuity because majority of them are J and E. And we know they were in the Levant. We know E1B1B was in the Levant during the Neolithic, and we know J1 was in the Levant during the Bronze Age expansion. This is long before Iuic's presumed timestamp of 2,000 years ago and being converted by Persian Jews. And then what happened to those damn Persian Jews? Are you saying the Persian Jews are authentic? What happened to them? They just evaporated? And they damn sure ain't Khazars, but we're going to save that for Mr. RONALD. And again, this paper right here, we done talked about this so many times. Y'all still ain't learned y'all lesson? Still ain't learned, man. You that kid in the back of the class going to sleep, throwing paper balls instead of listening. So this was published August 4th, 2021, Genomic History of the Middle East. You guys can see we've talked about this plenty of times before. All right, from there, I don't want to be on here all night. I might open the panel and let y'all air your idiocy. Or maybe not. Maybe not tonight. I probably won't let you air your idiocy tonight. There's plenty of idiocy going on. And maybe I shouldn't entertain it. All right, so there's two things he says in this video I'm going to cut real quick. If I don't do it, nobody ain't going to do it, right? All right. So you guys can see this. Again, CYA, because, these guys will counsel me. They don't want to be ADL. They want to be ADL so bad. They want to be ADL so bad. Section 107 of the Copyright Act provides statutory framework for determining whether something is a fair use and identifies certain types of uses, such as criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. So we are covered under the fair use, Section 107 of the Copyright Act, right? So I'm gonna give you guys a snippet of his movie, and it's without a shadow of a doubt, this is just racism and anti-Semitism. No way around it. Anyway, here's the clip.
In addition, 2 of the 12 tribes of Israel, Ephraim and the Israelites, have a clear understanding of the ethnicity of the.
Where is the origin of today's Arabs and Jews? Is this what this segment is called? Which is based off his book.
The truth is, the white Arabs and the white European Jews' real biblical
y'all
identity
can't
has
see
been
it, huh?
hidden today because the term Semitic has been used to describe them since they currently live in biblical Semitic lands. However, maternal DNA studies reveal that the true origin of today's Arabs and Jews comes from the many sons and women of Japheth, who dwelt in Central Asia, most notably modern-day southern Russia, Western Russia, aka the Pale of Settlements, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan.
Just deal with the audio, y'all.
The Seljuk Turks, the Oghuz Turks, the Uzbeks, Kurds, and other Turkish Hunnish groups would eventually over time migrate west to the Middle East and Anatolia, which is modern-day Turkey. They would adopt Islam as their religion and then conquer North Africa, the Levant, and Jerusalem under the latter name, the Ottoman Turkish Islamic Caliphate. In 1948, the European people of Turkish, Hunnic, Bulgar, Slavic, Khazar, and Germanic descent who converted to Judaism would conquer British Mandate Palestine, otherwise known as Arab Palestine, renaming it Israel. So as you can see, the true ethnicity of Abraham, Ishmael.
So as y'all guys heard that, he brought that Khazar lie up. Hold on, we go back. I can't see it.
In 1948, the European people of Turkish, Hunnic, Bulgar, Slavic, Khazar, and Germanic descent who converted to Judaism, the same damn lie. So we're going to cover that real quick. Then we're going to go back to the clip and then, debunk and refute his claim about ancient Egyptian people. You Afrocentrics have been lying on ancient Egypt, misrepresenting ancient Egypt. And that's really the video that I want to put out. But a lot of this bullshit had to be addressed. So I'm addressing that first, and then I'm going to be dealing with these misrepresentations of ancient Egypt, which many of you Black Hebrew Israelites do. Ancient Egypt is not a place of Black perpetuity. Everybody that was ever in ancient Egypt was Black. That's a fucking lie, and we're going to deal with that. But anyway,
his claims about this Khazars, they're all Japhetic. And how they all Japhetic if you claim to be Shem and you're African American and most of us are E and then they have E? How they all Japhetic? That makes sense. But real quick, we do have the ancient remains of the Khazarian people. So we're going to put this to rest. We put this to rest before. We're going to do it again. We have the ancient remains of the Khazarian people. Right? So there it is. Y chromosome haplogroup diversity in Khazar burials from southern Russia. They keep claiming that the Jews they're all Khazars. They're all Khazars. No, they're not. We have the evidence to prove it. What is an abstract? A summation of the paper. So I'm going to read that real quick. The genetic studies of archaeological burials open up new possibilities for investigating the cultural historical development of ancient populations, providing objective data that can be used to investigate the most controversial problems of archaeology. In this work, we analyzed the Y chromosome of 9 skeletons recovered from the elite burial mounds attributed to the 7th and 9th centuries of the Khazar Khaganate in the modern Rostov region. So this will be around the time when these Khazarians converted. Who converted them? Jews. So what are these damn Jews? They just evaporated? We just forget about the Jews that existed before the Khazars. They must have just evaporated, right? They were vaporized. Dudes are dumb, man. Genotyping of polymorphic microsatellite loci of the Y chromosome made it possible to establish that among the 9 skeletons studied, 3 individuals had R1A Y haplogroup, 2 had C2b, and 1 had G2A. Shout out to the Tail twins. You actually have relatives that are related to the royal Khazar peoples, right? N1AQ, R1B, Y haplogroups. So they didn't find J1 or they didn't find E1B1B, which is the bulk of Jewish people. They didn't find that. So how did they Khazars? All right, it says such results were noteworthy from the mixture of West Eurasian and East Asian paternal lineage in these samples. The Y chromosome data are consistent with the results of the craniological study and genome-wide analysis of the same individuals and showed mixed genetic origins for the early medieval Khazar nobility. And what does your Y chromosome reveal? Your forefathers, right? It shows you what groups you connect to on your father's side. They don't have J markers. They're not Khazars. And if the Khazars were converted, who converted them? Where are these people? That means the Jews were there. You have authentic Jews. In the story that y'all try to use to demarcate Jews. This is the anti-Semitism we're talking about. All right. Again, we show and prove here. It's another scientific article debunking this BHI bullshit. Anyway, let's go back to the clip. Video file. And again, it's just the audio because Prime won't let me show the video this time, so bear with me.
Judaism will conquer British Mandate Palestine, otherwise known as Arab Palestine, renaming it Israel. So as you can see, the true ethnicity of Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, Jacob, and the Israelites cannot be taught correctly in the church or on TV unless we have a clear understanding of the ethnicity of the ancient Egyptians. This is because the biblical Ishmaelite Arabs were people heavily mixed with Black Egyptian DNA, and the Israelites mixed with the Black Egyptians for 400 plus years before they left with Moses to journey to the land of Canaan. In addition, 2 of the 12 tribes of Israel, Ephraim and Manasseh, will come from the stock of a Black Egyptian woman named Alpha.
Now, this is what y'all claim to go off of the Bible. I only go by the Bible. Only go by the Bible. Where in the Bible does it say she was a Black Egyptian woman? That's you add that shit in there. We don't know what color she was. All right? That's just you adding that shit in there. And ancient Egypt was not a place of just nothing but Black people. That's not a place. Shout out to my brother RONALD. That's not a place where only Black people is exclusively Black. It's not that. That's some Afrocentric BS that you've been fed by John Henry Clark and Dr. Ben and all those others, James Small, those pseudos that don't want to recant on that. Anyway, let's prove that real quick. Let's prove and dispel these Afrocentric lies about ancient Egypt. That's it? No. That's not the paper. I want the ancient Egyptian paper real quick. Let's share that real quick. And I'll see about doing something. All right there. Boom. Ancient Egyptian mummy genome suggests an increase of sub-Saharan African ancestry in post-Roman periods. Let's read the abstract, which is a summation of the paper. That's what the abstract means. Egypt, located on the Isthmus of Africa, is an ideal region to study historical population dynamics due to its geographic location and documented interactions with ancient civilization in Africa, Asia, and Europe. Particularly in the first millennium BCE, Egypt endured foreign domination, leading to growing numbers of foreigners living within its border, possibly contributing genetically to the local population. Here we present 90 mitochondrial genomes as well as genome-wide data set from 3 individuals obtained from Egyptian mummies. And so when Dr. Reggie, the pseudo-Afrocentric, brought this paper, he said only 3 people. No, it's 93 people. It's actually 93. 3 of them were male and 90 of them had mitochondrial genomes. And many of these mitochondrial genomes were Eurasian. They were Eurasian. These would be, this is not sub-Saharan African haplogroups by and large. There's some there, but not the majority. This idea that the entirety of history in ancient Egypt was all black and Negroid is false. It's fake. It's fictitious. James Small, James Henry Clark, Dr. Bean, they were wrong. The sample recovered from Middle Egypt spanned from 1,300 years of ancient Egyptian history from the New Kingdom to the Roman period. Our analysis revealed that ancient Egyptians shared more ancestry with Near Easterners. Y'all want to hear this? It's going to crush your heart. It's going to crush your heart. All right. Our analysis revealed that ancient Egyptians shared more ancestry with Near Easterners than present-day Egyptians, who received additional sub-Saharan admixture in more recent times. This analysis establishes ancient Egyptian mummies as a genetic source to study ancient human history and offers the perspective of deciphering Egypt's past at a genome-wide level. This ancient Egypt would not have been a repository of black skin or just nothing but black people. Matter of fact, let's prove that. Let's go to the same paper. Let's type in phenotype. Estimate the phenotypes. What did they have? Finally, we analyzed several functionality relevant SNPs in sample JK2911, which had low contamination and relatively high coverage. This individual had a derived allele at the SLC24A5 locus, which contributes to lighter skin pigmentation, was shown to be at high frequency in Neolithic Anatolia. This person would have the same hue, the same skin tone of an Anatolian. And look, the HER2 gene. He had the HER2 gene, an LCD, which suggests dark color eyes and lactose intolerance. This is what the paper says. This is what the result comes from, the actual remains found in Egypt. So no, everybody in ancient Egypt, and I believe this is dated to what, 3,200 years ago? Everybody in ancient Egypt wasn't black, man. They didn't have the phenotype that you got in your mind. Anyway. You dilettantes ain't gonna give a damn. This video ain't made for you. Dislike it, unsubscribe. From there, I think I'm gonna go to one more thing, and I might entertain your idiocy. Just depends. I want to go to my book. I want to go to my Kindle. So let me share my Kindle with you guys. We're going to read some literature on ancient Egypt. Is it like James Smalls and Dr. Ben and John Henry Clark and all these Afro pseudos? Is it like they prescribe? All right, so let's start here. This is from the Ancient Near Eastern History and Culture. I try to buy good quality books so I can give you guys good quality education. So within this book, page 144, it says, why has the racial identity of ancient Egyptians become so important to so many people? The answers to that question varies, but usually those who ask whether the Egyptians were white or black accept two incorrect premises. First, the question implies the existence of biologically distinct, relatively pure races that develop in isolation from one another over long periods of time. Second, the questioners generally believe that there is a link between what they regard as race and cultural achievement. And this is why black people say, oh, we got Egypt and that's culture. They had science, they had this and blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, black people did. No, that don't mean you're connected to these people. And you're trying to connect these people because of their cultural achievement. Not that you actually descend. Because you ain't proved that yet. It says the racial identity of ancient Egyptians is important to many individuals because they want to claim early Egypt's accomplishments for themselves and other members of their own race. Most archaeologists, anthropologists, and historians usually try to avoid such discussions because they realize that the concept of race is a cultural construct rather than a legitimate biological category. And a lot of you guys still haven't grasped that concept. You still haven't grasped it. This is a cultural construct. This is not something that's, backed up by biology. But you got people saying, you still black. That's the damn one drop rule, Walter Plecker, and the Racial Integrity Purity Act of 1924, when he pretty much demarcated anybody and got rid of paternal racialism, paternal race, where they said you pretty much were who your family was. They said, no, it's based on how you look. If you look white, you're white. If you look black, you're black. Which disconnected and disenfranchised so many black people that were interconnected with Native Indians and even Europeans, right? Disavowing them and not allowing them to get land rights and funds from the government that was owed to them because of those relations. Y'all support that. A system that was used to destroy us, you guys support, honor, and find glory in it. This is why I tell you guys all the time, you are the spiritual children of Woodrow Wilson, the spiritual children of Walter Plecker. You speak and reverberate the same sentiments of these white supremacist racists. Let me read a little before that because it actually discussed some of your beloved heroes, right? It says here the racial identity of supposed newcomers were not usually stated, but it was assumed that they entered from Western Asia, not from other parts of Africa. Today, the idea of dynastic race in early Egypt has been completely abandoned. However, in recent years, the issue of racial identity of ancient Egyptians has been broached primarily in Afrocentric works. Ante Diop, y'all know some of these names. Y'all praise some of these people. Ivan Van Sertima, Asante, right? And I'm going to throw Dr. Ben and all those other guys in there too, right? Such works attempted to counter Eurocentric racist disparagement of African Americans and other blacks by arguing that almost all civilizations originated in Egypt was created by black Africans. For a response to Afrocentric claims, see Lefkowitz, 1997. Martin Burnham's Black Athena, though not truly an Afrocentric work, brought much scholarly attention to this subject. Burnham did not emphasize race, but he did argue that much of Greek civilization derived from ancient Egypt. Even though most of Burnham's thesis has been rejected by almost all specialists in ancient Near Eastern civilization, as well as those specializing in the culture of early Greece, it has been widely used by Afrocentric scholars. Why has racial identity of ancient Egyptians become important to so many people? The answer to that question varies, but usually those who ask whether the Egyptians were white or black accept two incorrect premises. First, the question implies the existence of biologically distinct, relatively pure races that developed in isolation from one another over long periods of time. Second, the questioners generally believe that there is a link between what they regard as race and cultural achievement. The racial identity of the ancient Egyptians is important to many individuals because they want to claim early Egypt's accomplishments for themselves and other members of their own race. Most archaeologists, anthropologists, and historians usually try to avoid such discussions because they realize that the concept of race is a cultural construct rather than legitimate biological categories. Modern genetic studies have shown that only 16% of variation between individual humans exists between the major so-called races. On the other hand, 94% of differences occur within specific population groups. Differences in easily observable physical traits usually provide the basis upon which culture distinguishes races from one another. However, often used racial characteristics such as skin color, hair texture, the shape of eyelids, nose, lips, or other features often vary independently through space and over time. And what that just says in a nutshell is you can have someone that's dark skinned that's East Asian, that has woolly hair that's East Asian, that's Northern European, right? It has nothing to do with some sub-Saharan African groups. So you can't just judge people off skin color. This is all modern constructs built on white supremacy. That's all you're supporting. Furthermore, there's no demonstrable relationship between such physical characteristics and intelligence or cultural achievement. After 10,000 BCE, as weather began to become drier, Egypt became a magnet for immigrants from North Africa, Sinai, Palestine, and the southern reaches of the Nile. These groups blended with one another to form the population of ancient Egypt, which physically was much the same in antiquity as it is today. In the Nile Valley, physical types varied so gradually that differences were perceptible only between places widely separated geographically. Skin color, for example, gradually changed from predominantly tan or olive in the Delta to an almost blue-black near the Nile's sources. So, what is this source telling you? There was a myriad of skin tones in ancient Egypt, which makes sense. The Nakata periods, you had them bringing in Afghanistan material culture, the lapis lazuli. Right, we do have evidence of that. During the 18th dynasty, we have exhumed those mummies, and many of those mummies were Eurasian, R1b. You even have a haplogroup G in the mix. They were there. So just to assume that the entire Egyptian population was jet black, all black, is bullshit, and it's been fed to you guys through Sonetta Garfield and these Afrocentric maniacs and these BHIs like Ronald Dalton Jr. You understand? It's time you drink from a clear glass. And the only way you're going to do that is you get rid of all that damn racist, anti-Semitic bullshit you got in your head. It says other physical features varied bit by bit along the same continuum, but such physical differences were not as important to the ancient Egyptians as to modern Westerners. The Egyptians did distinguish themselves as a group from Libyans, Nubians, Asiatics, and others in artistic representation by emphasizing any differences in facial features and skin tone between these groups and the average Egyptian. However, the main criteria Egyptians used to define themselves relative to others were cultural in nature. Anyone who was born in Egypt, spoke the Egyptian language, and shared the Egyptian culture was an Egyptian, a true person. In the ancient Egyptian language, the same word meant Egyptian in person. Outsiders were all thought to be somewhat inferior, but that was because of their cultures, not their skin colors. Foreigners spoke differently, dressed differently, often had a variety of strange beards, wore different hairstyles, and had different customs. To ancient Egyptians, there was a world of difference between an Egyptian who lived in the Delta and his Libyan or Palestinian neighbors, even though they all might resemble one another physically. In the same way, darker-skinned Egyptian residents of Elephantine were people, while their physically similar Nubian neighbors just to the south were only wretched foreigners. This is what was going on during that time. They didn't have this idea of race. We just stick together because we black. We just black. I'm black, y'all. I'm black. They didn't have that concept. No, it was we Egyptian. I'm gonna stick with these Egyptians. The Nubians, they are enemy. The Asiatics, they are enemy. The Libyans, they are enemy. You know what I'm saying? That's how they got down. It had nothing to do with no damn skin color system. All right? So with that, man, easily to repudiate this stuff. You guys are anti-Semite. You know, you guys are anti-Semite. You support anti-Semitic rhetoric. You're trying to say that these people are Khazars. That's been proven a lie. Trying to say that they stole your legacy and they never were there and they came in 2,000 years ago. They're intrusive 2,000 years ago and they were converted by Persian Jews and all this bullshit. It's false. It's a lie. You're demarcating those people because you hate them. You guys are haters. And at the end of the day, you BHIs have done nothing to match what they have accomplished as far as family building, wealth attainment, so on and so forth, and education. How about you focus on those areas? Not focusing on going out there yelling expletives to random people on the street, talking about Revelations 2:9, 3:9, and the bastard ass and all these damn insults, trying to call people Edomites, all this other bullshit. All right, man, I'm out of here, man. Peace. Anything in the purple shirt getting murked. We out. Gang.
You gon' want some more of this.
Jerry Springer Fox too, cause we ain't had no jam. Jerry Springer Fox too, cause we ain't had no channels. Try not to crap out on the dice because my life a gamble. Had to cut some niggas off cause all they do is scramble. Had to cut some bitches off cause all they do is stab me. Jerry Springer Fox too, cause we ain't had no channels. Try not to crap out on the dice because my life a gamble. Had to cut some niggas off cause all they do is scramble. Had to cut some bitches off cause all they do is stab me.
Thought I was living in a dream, I told myself to snap out. Short life a gamble and I wonder if I'm gonna crap out. And I got some for all them niggas that be trying to act out. Watch me go dumb, hitting the trigger on this 300 blackout. Yeah, turning dreams to reality, man. What is wrong with the devil? It feel like he after me. So I started this rapping thing, had to go show him that shooting ain't my only strategy. Feel like the streets trapping me ever since they killed my brother, man. RP packing name. Man, it's been a tragedy, gotta keep my head up because these niggas not clapping me. Because I got 5 sisters and I want them to know they don't need no nigga. I'm still trying to get rich so we can move out of town and the house is bigger. Short 314 get real, yeah, I know my city and it can't get realer. Lord, when I die, I ask you please just let me see the eyes of my
Jerry
killer.
Springer Fox too, cause we ain't had no channels. Try not to crap out on the dice because my life a gamble. Had to cut some niggas off cause all they do is scramble. Had to cut some bitches off cause all they do is stab me. Jerry Springer Fox too, cause we ain't had no channels. Try not to crap out on the dice because my life a gamble. Had to cut some niggas off cause all they do is scramble. Had to cut some bitches off cause all they do is stab. Yeah. Run up a check, I just want some baguettes. Hit up my ex when I need me some neck. Told her don't call if it ain't about sex. Fresh on my block, I just hopped off a jet. Grimy to sign me, I'm fighting my demons. Told her I'm coming, no matter the region. Fuck all the goofies, them niggas be singing. Yo, bitch, a groupie for gang, she be fiending. Can't trust the hoe, these hoes are stabbed. She sucking and fucking for flights and travel. We want the war, give a fuck about the battle. Smoking on goofies, this shit out the barrel. Sleep in the trap, now we trap out the castle. I fucked in a duck, I just gave her a sample. I told her good luck cause she wants some financials. My niggas crazy, they going bananas. My nigga crazy, they going bananas. My nigga crazy, they going bananas. I fuck that bitch in my pajama. I fuck that bitch in my pajama. Jerry Springer Fox too, cause we ain't had no channels. Try not to crap out on the dice because my life a gamble. Had to cut some niggas off cause all they do is scramble. Had to cut some bitches off cause all they do is stab me. Jerry Springer Fox too, cause we ain't had no channels. Try not to crap out on the dice because my life a gamble. Had to cut some niggas off cause all they do is scramble. Had to cut some bitches off cause all they do is stab me. Jerry Springer Fox too, cause we ain't had no channels. Try not to crap out on the dice because my life a gamble. Had to cut some niggas off cause all they do is scramble. Had to cut some bitches off cause all they do is stab me.